let's now get the thoughts of Dr. Minguita Padilla, who led the medical team behind Project ART on the possibility of easing health measures in the country. Padilla is also running for senator in the upcoming elections. Dr. Padilla, good morning to you.
Good morning, Karen, and good morning to everybody who's watching this morning.
All right, let's start first with something personal. You are accomplished as it is in your field. You're quite known already, not just in the medical community, but what made you decide to run and who asked you to run?
Sorry, thank you for that question. Actually, Karen, it's like there was a call building up inside me for a long time already. My one foot was always in politics, one foot was always out. I've been helping senators, congressmen, DOH for about 30 years, as an advocate. But then the COVID pandemic sort of showed me that we need to do more as doctors, and our presence in government, especially in policymaking positions, is important. So I was asking for signs, and I got signs because doctors themselves, healthcare workers themselves asked me to run, to submit my name for vetting, first with Sangbayan. And then finally, I know I did well, but Sangbayan hasn't really come out with their list. They never did as of now, no? But I know that many of them are supporting me as well because of the need. And finally, my old friend, Senator Lacson, asked me to join his ticket 3 times, actually. I kept saying no until the last time. Because when the third time came, that's when medyo hinug na, as they say, hinug na yung decision ko sa aking isip at sa aking puso. By running for the Senate, I'll just be continuing what I have been doing for the last 30 years, except hopefully I'll have a bigger platform, a bigger venue, and I'll be able to do something officially. Hindi na ako yung advocate na nagmamakaawa sa senador o sa congressman na pakinggan kami. At least, ando na ako. I'll be there and I can make the decisions, and I can, the way a doctor can. A doctor who is there in the front lines, in the trenches with the other healthcare workers. So it's important that we have a doctor in the Senate. So I really believe that now, and that's why I'm here.
Yes, and no doubt about it, the Senate can benefit clearly from having a doctor in one of the 24, and given that you were the president of the iBank Foundation. But a pragmatic and practical question would be, how will you win? I mean, let's face it, right? It's not like you have planned this long before and you've planted the seeds. Because if you were planting the seeds nationwide or even in social media, like Dr. Willie Ong, it would then make practical sense to decide to run, and the possibility of winning would actually be,
higher.
Yes, it would be much higher. So one would ask, Dr. Padilla, what about the possibility of landing in the 12?
Yes, actually, I thought of that as well. No, I'm also pragmatic, and I'm not a naive babe in the woods about politics. But I also I sense a very palpable need, desire in the public for change. I go everywhere, from sales girls, tricycle drivers, the youth. We want new faces, they tell me. We're sick and tired of so many of the people just keep coming back and coming back. There's a desire, there's like a hunger, especially in the first-time voters. They're reaching out to me. They want to know you. They want to know me. I'm not reaching out to them. So how will I try to win? Well, I have a base, actually. My base are the healthcare workers. It's a natural base. Then there are also the grassroots.
That's a good one. And how many, I'm sure you've done the numbers, how many of the healthcare workers are voters?
I'm sorry, I don't know exactly how many. All I know is there's a multiplier effect. For every doctor that votes for you, he has patients, or she has patients, family, the nurses, the nursing aides, the barangay health workers. You go down the line. And I'm not stopping with the healthcare workers. I'm also talking to other groups as well. The patients groups, the people with disabilities, all these people, and even the farmers, all these people want somebody who can voice their concerns. And I've been going around. So it was a sudden decision. And that was the same question, the pragmatic people who have been in politics for a long time. Hindi ka mananalo, paano ka mananalo? Pero, imposible siguro. But Karen, when I put up the iBank long ago, many years ago, it was the same thing. It's impossible. Everyone kept saying it's impossible. But it didn't stop me. So I just prayed over it. I said, I have to try. Because if I don't try, then they'll say, wala namang iba. It's like it's a catch-22. So
Correct.
you try. If I lose, at least I tried. That's all I'm saying. I'll try my best. And if I lose, at least I tried my best. And I can live with myself, because if I don't, I'll not be able to live with myself. Knowing the problems we have today, knowing what I saw during the COVID pandemic, you know, the terrible profiteering as well, no? Amidst all the suffering. These were all calls. And I told God, sige na nga, I'll try, because I won't be at peace. Now
Okay.
I'm at
Doctora, I am curious now, will you be adopted by other slates as well? Or other? Okay.
I don't know because there have been some innuendos, but you know the hard part is I'm also trying to mature our political system.
Yeah.
The question is, if you're going to run with many slates, you have to at least be loyal to the person you're running under. Okay, who will you shout as president when you're in the stage with several presidential votes?
Yeah.
That's one question. Those are questions. I joined the Partido Reforma not just because I needed a party. I also believe in its ideals. I believe in reform. It's God-centered. I believe in empowering the LGUs. It's very important, empowering the LGUs.
Okay.
So those are concepts I believe in. So I may be invited, but I'll tell them I cannot shift loyalties as far as the party and the president is concerned. But
So given that health is your main advocacy, and if you do run for the Senate, you know, senators have very strong points of view. Should the president have retained Secretary Duque as health secretary during the pandemic? And is Secretary Duque doing a good job?
He should not have retained him as early as last year when there was the first call for the senators to, remember there was a call for the senators to change him or for him to resign or for the president to let go. I think it was then that should have happened because, I mean, you know, Secretary Duque has been my friend. I have, you know, drank with him, gone out with him, we worked together before. But definitely during this pandemic, there was, again, a lack of sense of urgency. They were considering hurting the feelings of China instead of closing borders early on. The doctors, we didn't even know there was already community transmission when there was. So much was hidden from us. There's a lack of transparency. We could have gotten vaccines earlier. So my point is, and the doctors wanted him to be more transparent with us, to show more leadership, more accountability, you know, those qualities of a leader. Unfortunately, they were lacking as far as we were concerned in this pandemic. And I don't think it's just the doctors who feel this way. Hence, we came up with a strong statement of indignation and call to action. No? So, and then transferring 42 million to PSTBM for Pharmaly and saying, no, it's like transferring again the blame to PSTBM. It's a lot of finger pointing. We cannot have that. We need a captain of a ship during this time. And so I believe that maybe he's just tired. Maybe his how do you call this, his skill set is not for a pandemic. Maybe it's meant for ordinary times, but nabulabog sila. So I really feel that somebody from perhaps inside the DOH who could have shown more leadership would have been in a better position to do this. But early on, not now. It's too late now.
How would you describe the government's pandemic response moving into 2 years? We're hitting 2 years into the pandemic.
Well, Karen, there has always been a tug of war between those who are earnestly doing their job, their duty, and those who are profiteering. There was a tug of war. And that tug of war, in any government, there's always the good and there's the bad, okay? Any government, any administration, except that this time it was a pandemic. So this tug of war caused delays, okay? And there wasn't somebody who said, tama na, lay off health. I didn't hear that. They allowed them.
Would you describe it as a failure or not exactly?
Not exactly a failure. We're in a much better place now, Karen. No? So despite the delays, you know, we had unprecedented cooperation also of the medical sector, the private sector, the doctors. We all chipped in, we all helped, despite our misgivings, even if we were not happy, but we always help. And I think this cooperation between government and private sector was one of the reasons we're in a better place now. And we are able to go along despite all the problems, okay? Even despite what we saw as seemingly massive corruption, which should not go unpunished, by the way, okay? We have been able to sort of traverse this very dangerous path, and we are in a better place now. And I must agree with Dr. David. We are in a better place now, and we can really open up the economy.
So
okay?
you are for downgrading Metro Manila to alert level 2.
I am. However, I'm also cautious about the movie houses and certain. Maybe we can do alert level 2 in a sort of hybrid form and watch for these things, because definitely, Karen, we need to open up, because the deaths, the hunger, the disease due to poverty, due to the lockdowns is now greater than the deaths due to COVID. Okay, it's we have to balance life already, because Metro Manila is now we've practically gotten herd immunity between the vaccinations and the natural immunity from the disease. I think we have reached herd immunity in Metro Manila. Okay, and I agree also the problem now.
And are you saying that based on numbers? I mean, when you say, I think we have, that's a powerful statement. I think we have reached herd immunity in Metro Manila.
Yes, because we have about 85%, in NCR, about 85% vaccinated fully. Okay, then you have those who got sick but never knew they were sick or never sought attention. That's about how many times more than reported. And to tell you the truth, there was a clinical trial for a vaccine, a Chinese vaccine, Clover, in Metro Manila, 7 cities, and then 2 in outside NCR. Sorry, NCR rather, and outside NCR. So they tested adults who were never vaccinated and found that 65% of them already had antibodies. So 65% had the disease and never got anything. They never knew it, or they were very mild. You add that to the 85%. That's why our numbers are also going down. So we have to realize that, and we have to stop, putting ourselves down, and let's try to gingerly, but safely, but bravely open up already. We need to open up.
So you're saying we need to open up. Are we ready for face-to-face classes, Dra Padilla?
It depends on
in Metro Manila.
In Metro Manila, I think if we get more students, more children, more minors vaccinated, yes. But the teachers are the problem also. Because in Metro Manila, it's not so bad. It's okay. And CHED, fantastic. About 98%, I think, of the teachers in CHED, higher learning, are vaccinated. They're definitely ready for face-to-face in the higher, the colleges. But the grade school and high school, we have to make sure the teachers are being vaccinated, because outside Metro Manila, there's a lot of hesitancy, even among the teachers.
I was going to ask you, so would you support mandatory vaccinations? Because in the United States, it's quite interesting. The Supreme Court did not issue a temporary restraining order against the university in the United States that actually required all teachers, all students to be vaccinated against COVID-19, or they do not come in physically in class. So I want to ask you that. It's a bit controversial, especially with some human rights groups, but are you for mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations?
For certain people, like for example, for schools, if you are a teacher and you are not vaccinated, the state must protect you from getting sick. You can do virtual. You can still work. You can still teach. But to subject you to people who are vaccinated, and you may get COVID and you will get sick, it's to protect you. It's not discrimination. Just the same as students. It's to protect them. Because it is the right. You have a right to refuse the vaccine. You have a right. But you also have to face the consequence of your decision. And you cannot hold back the entire system because of your refusal. So there's a way around that. You can go to school virtual. Not because you're protecting them.
But then this affects that's still a choice. So this affects the possibility of going back to normal. Because let's say if it's a school with hypothetically 50 teachers, and then 25 are vaccinated, 25 are not, then you're giving the 25 a choice to do virtual classes. So it affects the reopening. So that's why the mandatory vaccinations is controversial, because in some schools abroad, they'll fire you if you refuse to be vaccinated. So are you there? There are some senators that are already there.
Yeah, to fire them.
Yeah, because simply by giving a choice, then you're saying, then the whole school's affected. So if you're a student, then you're vaccinated, your teacher refuses to be vaccinated, then you'd have to live with virtual classes.
Then your performance and your ability to teach
Absolutely.
properly. Then you can base it on performance. So you understand the way around. then you can also give incentives to those who are vaccinated for doing the right thing. And I feel very strongly about this. So you don't destroy their human rights, but you make them responsible for their choice, especially if there's enough vaccines. Okay? And why? Why are they not having? If it's a medical reason, fine. If it's something they absolutely cannot have the vaccine, it's fine. But if it's a flimsy reason, okay, then maybe their job is not that important to them, or their performance as a teacher is not that important to them. Because there has to be a way. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. That's my point. No?
Okay.
So,
Dr. Padilla, what difference would you make in the Senate if you do win a seat? You know, miracles happen all the time. I mean, right? You know, I mean, when you talk about numbers, clearly, let's be honest, yours is a long shot, but miracles happen all the time. So my question is this: what aren't they doing that only you could do or you would do?
Oh, so many things, Karen. One is, I know PhilHealth in and out. I've been inside, I've been out. They have never addressed the real problems of PhilHealth. And PhilHealth is very important so universal healthcare can happen. That's one. There are certain things in the UHC law should be revisited. One is, why are we demanding that the hospitals submit their claims within 60 days? There's no such thing in the law. It's unfair. It's not right because they deliver the service, and why aren't they being paid? It's kawawa in hospital. Two is, why are we going to pay higher and higher premiums? Those of us who are paying premiums already, when PhilHealth has not really collected properly. It's unfair to us. So these are the things I know is happening inside. What do we have to fix? IT system, the legal system. I know how it works, so I know how to fix it. And I will not, hindi sila makakalusot sa akin.
But wouldn't you be best then as the head of PhilHealth? Would you need laws for these ideas you're giving?
But I would have to be appointed. And I don't want to have to depend on the president to appoint me. Okay? You never know who's going to win or if they'll be of the same mind as you. They might not be a reformist the way you are. Diba? I mean, we have to make sure that PhilHealth president also fulfills the criteria of a PhilHealth president as specified in the Universal Healthcare Act. Because right now,
and do you think Dante Giran, the present head of PhilHealth today, fulfills the requirements of a PhilHealth president?
Actually, according to the law, he does not. Okay, in the law. Okay, so the president must have his reasons. He's a forensic, I think, investigator. He's a lawyer, and he wanted him to go after fraud. But he's not equipped with a public health knowledge. Okay, and for PhilHealth, so you have to have somebody who's mixed, who has a balance of both. No? But Karen, it's not just PhilHealth. It's not just that and universal health care. We have to prepare for the next pandemic. We have to be ready for the next pandemic. And I think having a doctor in the Senate will really help ensure that we can prepare the country for that. And there are so many other things.
Yeah. Doctora, you have private hospitals who've come out with a statement just now that they already want to disengage from PhilHealth.
Yeah. See, that's the result of the frustration of private hospitals because PhilHealth owes private hospitals billions. No? I don't know if it's possible to do that because the patients will suffer. Okay, but I think it is possible to really force, if the president can force PhilHealth to pay up. Now, this is also the problem. I have seen both sides. And I'm sorry to say, I also know some hospitals say COVID, even if it's not COVID. I know that, no? Kahit walang COVID. It happened to my driver's brother. Okay, he died, he had an aneurysm, and they put their COVID. Okay, so my point is it's happening. So there's also that problem. So, but PhilHealth has really not paid so much, okay? And the hospitals cannot continue this way. We cannot continue this way. So there must be a serious move for them to pay up, Otherwise, hospitals cannot continue, really. But the patients will suffer because they can be limited into what hospitals they'll be able to go to as well.
Okay. Three more questions from you just quickly. What would you consider, here's a question for both sides. What would you consider as this administration's biggest achievement?
One of them is signing the universal, this is as far as health is concerned, signing the Universal Health Care Act, the national ID system, that's also very important, no? And sort of indirectly, I think, also making us wake up to the fact that we need good leaders.
Okay.
It's a blessing in this case. But UHC definitely helped. And also, the Mandanas ruling, Mandana's law.
But
and-
that would be the Supreme Court.
Yes, but signing EO 138, the president signed it, no, which will operationalize that decision so that the LGUs will get more money. That's very important also.
All right, that's fair. So what would you consider the biggest failure of this administration, and what are you most frustrated with?
Runaway corruption, major, no, not just in health, but especially in a pandemic, really major, no, in all aspects. I talk to people in business. They say, all we want is a level playing field, but there's so much smuggling going on.
And do you believe President Duterte did not keep to his promise?
I don't think he kept to his promise, because he said just a whiff of corruption and I will do something about it. And yet we've seen stenches of corruption, that people were up in arms, and this is the thing. It's just like a double standard. And I have nothing against President Duterte. In fact, I felt he really meant well when he started, no? But so many things were happening, and people were also giving him information which was not exactly correct. So what happened was that so much corruption was going on, which was unchecked. It was like unorchestrated, rampant corruption. And the depth was risen so much.
Yes. My last question is, Dra Padilla, would you ever consider or want to be, or was it ever part of a dream to be health secretary?
Oh yes, it was. I wanted to be health secretary. It was a dream, but again, I was not appointed. No? There was a time after President Duterte won, there were rumors that I was being considered, and I would have accepted it. Really, I would have. But in retrospect, maybe I think I was lucky. I was not. In a way, because you had so many problems, and the Delivacia scandal and all these things happened, but I was still willing, even at the height of the COVID pandemic, I was still willing, but of course no more now, not now. But I wanted to, and I had dreamed about it, and I would be willing to still do it if given a chance.
Mag-member at mag-sign up www.reforma.ph Partido Reforma.